right, now we are very excited to be joined by yet another extremely special guest. This person, our special guest, brought home. In Cleveland, we love our champions. We love our hometown champions, and we gained one this summer in the Olympics in Tokyo. She brought home the gold medal in the Tokyo Games in the pole vault. Native Clevelander, Olmsted Falls High School, Ashland University. Katie Nageotte, welcome to the Garage Beers podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. This is
Absolutely.
We are very excited to have you on. There's a lot to talk about. And like I said, I'm super excited to talk to you a little bit about your reception when you came back too, because like I said, we in Cleveland love our champions.
Yes, I know, because I am a Clevelander. Like I get behind anyone and everyone that is successful as an athlete or just as a person. So to be on the receiving end of it is so cool. It's overwhelming and crazy to me because it's like it's just me. I just loved to pole vault. Like I just jump over a stick with a stick. Like what? How do I deserve any of this? But it's so cool. I'm just so grateful.
Well,
now,
I think
go ahead, Chad. I was going to say, do you still live in the area? Like I know you said you're Eastern time zone, but
not currently. I am training in Atlanta, Georgia, so I'm down here. But my family, immediate, extended, etc., they're all in Cleveland, so I come back pretty frequently.
All 52 first cousins are in Cleveland.
Yeah, well, no, but a lot of them are still.
Oh, okay.
Those are my dad's extended cousins. I only know 20-something.
Gotcha. Okay.
One of the things that I'm excited to talk to you about, right? We have athletes on here. We have broadcasters on here. We have people on here that a lot of people like. I've played baseball, right? I never played Major League Baseball, but I know what it's like to play baseball. I know what it's like to play football. Chad played football. He knows what it's like to play. Nobody knows what it's like to pole vault. Like not there's like 7 people that know what it's like to pole vault. So just like I'm so excited to kind of
to win. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's not true. It's so few people actually get to experience that feeling and that sensation and all that. So we're so excited to talk to you about it. But before we get into that, I got a question for you.
Okay.
So we got to clear something up. You were a collegiate champion at Ashland, an NCAA champion at Ashland for the Eagles.
Yes.
Our own Chad Meyer was a world-class water boy for the Ashland football team.
Let's go.
First, hey, that's first team all GLIAC water boy to you, pal.
There you go.
I feel like the AU alumni, though. That like makes us instant friends, Katie.
Absolutely. Of course.
That being said, no. That being said, did you hear from Judd at all?
Oh yeah. Oh, he was one of the first people that reached out, and actually, I am going to be the commencement speaker in December. So
yes,
school has definitely been in contact. I'm, terrified. What could I possibly say to, it's not like it's just standing up on stage talking about me and what I've done. It's like, how do I give words of wisdom to these people, but
inspire.
Yeah, right. But I'm really excited. I think it's going to be awesome.
Well, I'm just hoping that someday you have a plaque or maybe a statue at Ashland somewhere near the Chad Meyer Memorial Water Fountain.
Yeah, we'll see. I still only pole vault, so I don't know.
It could be of you just vaulting over me, just pouring water into somebody's mouth.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
No, exactly. It's perfect.
That's exactly how I pictured it in my head when I saw it. So, yeah.
See, it's instant friends. It's the AU. We're simpatico right now.
I feel like, in fairness, I feel like I almost have to say something nice about Chad, and I just can't pull myself to do it. But Chad actually did play football.
Nice. There you go.
It wasn't just the water boy, but he was part-time. He played both ways.
Yeah.
All right. So first and foremost, Katie Nageotte, Cleveland native. What makes one start in pole vaulting? Like, how did you get your start as a pole vaulter?
So when I was in 7th grade, it was the first year we could do sports for our school, and track and field was on the list. And I was somebody that wanted to try everything, any sport. So I liked that track and field, they're you could run, you could do field events, you could do anything. And so when they took us to the high school the first day, I saw the high schoolers doing it. And I was a gymnast when I was younger. I loved anything involving adrenaline and upper body strength and daredevil-ish activities. And so it really just drew me in immediately. But at that time, there it was so new for women. It had only been in the Olympics since 2000, and this was 2004. So it had only been in the Olympics one time. And I think my coaches, it's a very technical sport and it's very intimidating. So I think they didn't deal with, a middle schooler doing it, but I just begged them for days to let me go over and try it. And they finally did. And when you first start, you're gripping so low, you're gripping like halfway down on the pole. You're more like long jumping into the pit, but just happen to have a pole in your hand, kind of swinging. And so it's not what it looks like now, or like at the elite level, but it just was so fun. And the second day I came out and I landed back on the runway,
oh no,
I got a little too excited, gripped a little too high. It was very humbling, but I still loved it.
This is easy. Whoa, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah, right? I was like, first day, got this. Nope.
I still remember being like, first of all, track and field, not this guy. But I remember seeing a video of a guy, and I feel like this is like one of the oldest viral videos, a video of a pole vaulter, a male that cleared the bar. And was kind of celebrating on his way down, but then his pole came over and got him right in the groin. And I was like, well, that sport is not for me.
Yeah.
that is not it.
It doesn't happen very often. And that's the thing is like the pole breaks, those videos, they're circulated everywhere, but they're pretty rare.
Yeah.
I mean, usually if you're doing it relatively correctly, it's honestly a safer sport than it looks. It's safer than gymnastics or football because it's very consistent. Like you lean in the pit. It's just, I think a lot of times you get maybe some high schoolers that get excited and grip a little high, but they're actually gripping high enough and strong enough to, get rejected in the air. But yeah, so stuff that it doesn't happen too often, but yeah, I mean, Sandy Morris, who won the silver medal in 2016, she was coming down the pole, clipped her right in the leg, and she has like a mark. But I think the way that I go over, I always kind of push it back or to the side anyway. So it's usually more the people that are working the standards that kind of have to look out.
I hear planes could be dangerous for breaking poles too. Say like back in May, like on the way back from an event.
Oops.
That had to have been like, what happened there? That had to have been a nightmare.
I don't know. To this day, I still don't understand because the amount of force that it would take to snap an entire bag of poles in half, because these poles are designed to bend. So so to have 9 of them in that tube, snap in half to where it would break is insane to me. But yeah, I just walked over to baggage claim, and from a distance I could see that they were just laying there, but I saw one of the workers just pick up an end and it kind of went like this, like bent in half, and like half of it stayed flat and then half of it lifted, and I went, oh no, that's not supposed to do that. And I walked over, and sure enough, every single one of them was snapped in half.
Oh my gosh.
And it was very nauseating. I mean, I'm 1 month out from the trials, so it was just not what you want to deal with, but it ended up being, in a weird way, the best thing to ever happen to me, because I, in a turn of events, got to try different pole companies and brands and got on a different brand that I think really made the difference for me. So yeah.
Overcoming adversity. Love it.
There it is.
It's been my whole year or career, really, but yeah.
So here's the cool thing, right? So you've been a champion at like every level, right? You set a state record in Ohio in high school. You're an NCAA champion from Ashland. So you've always been extremely successful at the pole vault, and yet still it's got to just be insane to you that you just won a gold medal in the Olympics, right? Like What is that? What is that even like? How does it compare to all these other championships and things you've done?
What's funny is it just doesn't, it still doesn't quite feel real. Like I know it's real and I have my moments, but there is a bit of a disconnect of so much about that meet felt like other meets that we do. And, we're in a stadium. It's the same women that I compete with on a regular basis. And so the fact that this one is just so different, and that was the Olympics, because I think as growing up, when I watched the Olympics, it's like these phenoms, these superstars, these people you only ever see on TV. And I still feel like that's the case. Like the actual Olympics is going on somewhere else. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's crazy. But I think what's worked in my favor is, yes, I've had success at each level, but it took me years. So like it took me until my senior year of high school. It took me until my senior year of college. It took me until 5 years out of college to win US nationals and get a contract. And then it took me 2 times of trying out for the Olympics to get here. And so I think I've definitely had a lot of this and roller coaster of a career, but a general upward trajectory. So that's kept me motivated. But I think that has really helped me to just keep at it, but stay, hopefully humble. I don't know.
I mean, so far so good. So far so good.
Call myself humble. That's not so humble, but
Oh my God, did you see how humble I was on that?
Yeah, right.
My God, world records, no big deal.
I'm just such a humble person that no.
Now to follow up with that, Katie, you talked about getting a contract, and we've had past Olympians on the show. We've had a few swimmers, and people don't normally kind of associate Olympians and as these like millionaire athletes. Like, what is the path that like an Olympian needs to take to actually like start making some money off of the sport?
Yeah, it's different for everyone, and every sport is going to be different. So like I could not give a swimmer like the right advice, but in track and field, it just comes down to the numbers. It's just how high you jump, how fast you run, and really it's about making teams, making world teams, making Olympic teams, and your possibility of medaling. That's really because track and field is not a very visible sport. Like in the US, it's just not out there a ton, and it's not like the NFL or the MLB, the NBA, where it's on all the time. There's millions of dollars flooding in from fans and from this and that, and so it's a business, and so you just have to perform, and your numbers and results kind of speak for themselves. So but I had to jump the 5th highest height ever in the history of the sport to get a contract. So and it's
Jesus.
So and I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, it's just that's the reality of the sport that I'm in. So
wait, so when was that? When was that jump?
That was 2018. So that was to make the indoor world team, and then the outdoor world team in 2019. But at both of those, I placed, I think, anywhere from 5th to 7th. Like I said, it took me, a couple of times at each level to then stand at the top. But
the one thing that I looked at, right, and again, so was your Olympic jump, that was not like a personal record jump for you?
No, but it was within 2 inches, so it was close.
So like way off.
Enough.
Yeah. So it was only 5 centimeters difference. So the next bar would have tied my personal best. So if the Russian girl had made it, then I would have, that would have tied my personal best.
So the thing that I thought was cool, right? And again, high school, obviously you grow, you get stronger as you become more of an adult, all that, and you train and you train and you train and you train. But the thing that I thought was awesome, right? You set the state record in high school. Your gold medal vault that you did in the Olympics was like a full meter higher than your state record setting pole vault that you did in high school. Like, how crazy is that?
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't know how long it would take or how much higher I would have to jump, because I probably would have given up a long time ago. I think I was just enough full of myself that like I was like, oh, I could do this professionally. I could do this, like, and I think myself and other high schoolers included, like they think it's very linear. Well, I jumped like, this much of a PR this year, so I'll do that next year and do that. And
Right.
that's not, and it takes so much more work and so much effort just for centimeters that like I am glad that I was pretty delusional to that, because I would have possibly given up a long time ago. Uh,
So here's a question that I had, right? The one downside of everything that went on in Tokyo in the Olympics is that normally like the Nageottes are there
yeah.
and friends and family and like there's plans and you've got this cheering section and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So like was like how much did Team USA become the family for you and your teammates as far as celebrating your gold medal and living it up, and how fast after you won gold, how fast did you call somebody at home, somebody family to
Pretty
celebrate?
quickly. Yeah, it just I mean the Team USA camaraderie, you can just feel it. Like even from other teams, I walked to breakfast the next day, and the baseball coaches were telling me congrats, and other sports are, so it was just. But when I competed, I was one of the last events of the day, and so the only people after me were the multis, and so I'm up doing an interview, and then I just hear screaming from behind me, and it was all the multi girls cheering me, and it's just so nice. But I think the thing I will say, as much as I would have loved for my family to be there,
Yeah.
I was kind of glad it was very cut and dry,
Sure.
and that, okay, now they were able to save the money, and they could be in a place with all of my family and friends, like everyone we've ever like loved and cared about. It was all in one place at a bar, 6 in the morning, watching
Yep.
me compete, like, and getting to watch that back of their reaction in the moment was just so cool. It still gives me goosebumps, like just thinking about it. So
Yeah, I don't know your friends or family,
yeah.
but I was watching those videos from that bar, and
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest, right? Because they were updating them on Twitter. They were just like,
Yeah.
and I don't, what bar was it? I don't remember what bar it was.
Called Fat Little Buddies. So it's just
Yes,
dive bar,
That's it.
Olmsted Falls, Ohio. So great.
yes, yeah. And they kept cutting like every time, like you, and then the Russian girl, and then you, and like just the reactions were incredible, and the scenes from that bar. Were, I was a little upset that I wasn't there. I wanted to be at Fat Little Buddies.
I wish
At
I could
6 in the morning.
places at once, because I like had FOMO not being there.
That is fantastic bar food. I've had a couple of Diet Cokes there, and the food, it is delicious. If
The
anybody
wings
ever goes up,
are so
yeah,
good.
see,
The wings are so good. It's my friend's favorite wing place.
All right, so the thing that we got to talk about here, besides your incredible accomplishment, is you pull such a phenomenal reenactment of one of the greatest moments in Cleveland sports history. When you look into the camera, like almost immediately after you win a gold medal, and you scream, "Cleveland, this is for you." What was it like? Were you planning on that? Was that like a plan for you?
I mean, so leading up to it, that flashed in my head, and I was like, that'd be pretty cool, but I don't know if I'm going to seem like kind of a jerk, like trying to copy LeBron and like, but
Listen, remember, I'm very humble.
I was on a podcast, and someone wrote in, will you do that? And I started laughing, because I'm like, I've thought about this, but I'm like, do I do that? And they were so for it. And then when they posted it on Twitter, and I just said, like, should I do this? And everyone was like, yes, 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 yes. And I honestly wasn't even thinking about it up until that moment. It was like, it just hit me, and it was genuine. Like I love Cleveland. I was thinking of my family back home, everyone watching, and I'm like, I want to give them a shout out. Like, and it all hit me, and I like, so I don't want it to seem like, oh, I had this big plan. Like, it wasn't like that. It just, in the moment, that I'm like, I need to do this. And so I said it, and it became a big thing. I was actually, I was at a bachelorette party this weekend, and I was at a bar, and there was a bachelor party there, and the one guy said he was from Cleveland and just chatted, and then my friend, of course, just was screaming my accomplishment, and he kind of looked at me and he was like, Cleveland, this is for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, cool. It's been overwhelming, but everyone responded so well to it. I really thought if I ever did that, people would be like, oh, what a
no.
Listen, man. I hate that you did that. I'm really humble. You know, collegiate champion, high school champion, gold medal.
Okay. My siblings have heard
no big deal.
All I know is it's 7 a.m. or whatever time it was when you did that, and I was like, it was like better than a cup of coffee in the morning. I was like, people in my house were like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, I think my friends stayed at that bar for a while that day. Some of them went to work after, some of them didn't. But
I would, why would you not stay at that bar all day?
Yeah.
If there's anything worth celebrating, it is that. So I think one of my favorite things about watching pole vaulting is that there's a Wile E. Coyote moment. And so it's always whether a jumper, is it a vaulter, a jumper? I don't want to sound like an idiot.
No, either one.
Or more of an idiot than I normally am.
No, like jump days or
okay
today. So yeah, you're good.
Okay. So the jumper either clears the bar or they don't. And there's this moment where they react, but it feels like they're not moving. They're just like hanging in the air and they react like Wile E. Coyote when he runs off a cliff.
Yeah.
You had a great one.
Thanks.
Like you cleared and your face was just like pumped and excited and you were just like suspended in the air. Like, does it feel like you're kind of suspended in the air at that moment? Like you'd like, is it like a pause for you?
Yes. Like it's just, you haven't touched it. And I think in that moment, what I love about pole vault is we don't have time to calculate what our face is going to look like. It's just pure reaction. Like that is just as honest as it gets. And so I really like that. And I think part of why I was so excited with that jump was, one, the meet didn't start well. And so I think once I had found my rhythm and then cleared that 490 bar, which is the 16-foot barrier, to do that, having not started so well, that was exciting. And I knew that was going to be tough to beat. I knew that both of those girls could have cleared it and are very capable of clearing it, but that was going to put me in a better position, and clearing the next bar would be difficult. And then when I took off the ground, I really thought I messed it up. When you take off the ground, like you feel immediately if it's like a good jump or not. Like things are smooth, energy is transferring seamlessly. And that one, and you can kind of see me come off the top, like kind of on my side a little bit. But I said to myself, like, yeah, wow, you wasted that attempt, but like I fought for it. And so part of it was just shock too, that I was so excited. Like I'd never cleared a bar feeling like that. And my coach said that my takeoff step was just so far under, and obviously our hands are at a very fixed point. So like, you don't want to take off too close. But I took off so close that the pole just like scooped me up and shot me straight up in the air. And it just felt very strange.
Those new poles. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I don't know if I could have done that on another pole. So yeah.
So let's talk for a minute about just life in Tokyo. I think everybody wants to know about the cardboard beds.
Yeah. Well, they weren't flimsy. They weren't going to fall apart, but they were rock hard. I will say that they were not comfortable. I brought 2 mattress pad covers, and it's still, I do think, so part of, I think why my first couple attempts were not great was all during the warm-ups, my quad on my takeoff leg was so tight, it would not loosen. It kept cramping, it kept grabbing in a way that I've never really felt before. And it was the closest thing I felt to, if I jump off of this wrong, or if I do too much too soon, it's gonna tear. It's just gonna fall.
Yeah. Oh.
And I'm like, really? Of all the meets, you want to start this today? Like,
Yeah.
right? And so I think part of that might have been that the beds just, my hips never really sunk in, and the whole
Yeah.
time I was there, it was just, my legs were just crazy tight. So yeah, the beds were something, but
Not
they
recommended.
did the job.
Not recommended.
But like, you got to give it to them for, they can recycle those, and then they're gonna, turn those into apartments. And so it worked,
Hey.
and I'm fine. I did fine. So it's
You did okay. You did okay.
Well, I mean,
I like the basketball team will like rent out a hotel room, or
of course,
whole hotel.
well,
They
that's
didn't do
good.
that
I
for
mean,
us.
I think I'm done. I think I'm done now. My one thing I wanted when I came into this discussion here, Katie, was I was curious whether I'd be switching my bed frame out with a cardboard one.
You can try. I mean,
Yeah, but now that I know,
yeah.
just 3 mattress pads. 3 mattress pads.
Yeah, really, it was my fault that I didn't bring the right amount. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah, you should have thought about that. And you would think what Team USA would have prepared you better.
Yeah, they didn't give us enough stuff.
But otherwise, like, let's talk a little bit about returning, because the other video that was cool was you showing up at the airport. Oh, I don't want to hold on. I had a question and then I lost it, and I'm bringing it back.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to Cleveland. This is you for a minute. This is for you. Did you hear from LeBron? Like, did he react to that?
What? No, of course not. He has got way better things to do.
So did you hear from who are the cool people you heard from after you won the gold medal? Like, anybody cool?
The actor Mickey Rourke followed me on social media and posted about me winning. I was honored. Like, he is.
I'm sorry.
Time. Gosh, who else? I know that they didn't follow me, but my post about my dad and my tapping my shoes went kind of viral.
Yes.
And one of this meet accounts posted it, and Sharon Stone, the actress, commented on it, and then Katie Couric commented on it.
Okay.
Like, okay, they know I exist. This is insane. Bernie Kosar. That was like,
that's what we're looking for.
I was like, no, like, this is awesome.
Yes.
And then the UFC fighter
Stipe.
Yeah, he like posted about it on his story. Jake Paul invited me to his fight. Emily Mayfield followed me. I was like, I like you so much more than Baker. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. But yeah, it's been so cool. And you just don't, like, I know the Olympics have this reach, but it's so strange being on the other side of it. I just am doing what I always do. Like, it's crazy, but I'm
dying at Mickey Rourke. I'm dying at Mickey Rourke.
I know. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, he is so awesome.
Oh my God. Mickey Rourke. That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and he posted about it too. That's the best part, is it wasn't just like, hey, congrats. Like, he made a full post, like, and he's been commenting on, like, when I did Prefontaine, my last meet, he congratulated me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yes. Incredible.
That's so random yet so awesome. God almighty.
Yeah,
I've been watching pole vault since The Wrestler.
Right. Like, I didn't even know he was on social media. Like, I figured he'd be like way too cool for that, but it's been really fun.
Yeah. Talk about returning. Did you spend a little time at home in Cleveland before you headed to Atlanta or whatever? Were you able to, like,
I did
do the rounds, victory laps?
Yeah.
Was it pretty fun hanging out around here as a champion?
So cool. So overwhelming. I don't think I've ever been that tired in my life, but it was the best feeling ever. I did my meet and greet, and it was supposed to just be till 8 p.m. and people stayed until 11 to have me sign an autograph and just have a very short conversation with that. It was amazing. And they got poured on in the rain, and still they moved it inside, and they just sat in the gym, and I'm like,
oh my gosh,
soaking wet. They still wanted to chat with me, and I was so grateful for that. And it's funny because coming home, I said to my mom, the mayor was talking to her about what they wanted to do. And she's like, well, do you want a parade? I'm like, no, absolutely not. Like, I do not need a parade. No one's gonna come. We don't need to shut down roads. Like, we can do the meet and greet. That'll be great. And and then I got 2 parades. So
Yes.
one of them was in the Rolls Royce that LeBron had ridden in his personal one for
Oh,
the
yeah.
parade. And I like, what?
I think that's what you call full circle. There, when
mean,
Cleveland, this is for you.
I
Rolls
guess.
Royce.
Yeah, that was really the plan that I had hatched. No,
Someday LeBron's gonna be like, I hope Katie Nageotte retweets this.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, the only other time, it's funny because when I won the state championship, I was the main picture and then he was in the bottom corner. And my mom's friend was like, you put LeBron in the bottom corner. And it's all coming full circle.
I don't know whether this is going to develop into like a friendship or just the best rivalry in sports.
Yeah, maybe.
LeBron versus Katie Nageotte rivalry.
Each other.
No. Yeah. So I had my other question here and then I lost my screen. So you also brought up, so I'm going to ask you a totally random question off the wall. You brought up Bernie.
Yeah.
So obviously you're a Cleveland person. Are you a big sports Cleveland fan?
Big fan. Big.
How we feeling about the Browns this year? How we feeling?
Great. And actually, I'm gonna go speak to, I guess, some of the players when I'm home. Like that above all else was just like, what?
What?
I don't know. Maybe this is supposed to be a surprise. I don't know. But the defensive back coach reached out to me and asked if I would want to come in and chat with them. I'm like, what could I possibly say to these grown men superstars? But I don't know.
Jesus.
That just was, I've been the biggest Browns fan. And granted, I am admittedly, like, I couldn't go through the roster. I couldn't but I watch when I can. I always cheer for them. They're the only football that I watch other than Ohio State. And I've always been a big Browns fan. So I am so excited that we're doing well.
Yeah, right.
Much more fun.
We're doing this. I don't know. That makes me excited too. Olympic champion Katie Nageotte's feeling good about the Browns. And that's got to mean something. And LeBron's arch nemesis is feeling good. Are you going to be the bad guy in the next Space Jam movie?
I started watching the Space Jam movie, and I haven't. Like my friend came that. So, but no, I would. Yeah, I will definitely be in the video game.
You turned it off. You turned it off when you realized the rivalry was on. You're like, no, I can't watch this.
Well, listen, Katie, we really appreciate your time coming on with us tonight. We've had a great time talking with you, and we feel so excited. You brought a tremendous amount of pride. Again, we love in Cleveland. We love our champions, and I know all of us on the podcast talked about it. We were up watching it early, wishing we were at Fat Little Buddies. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
So hanging out with that group because it looked like a good time. But listen, congratulations on everything. Truly, we had a great time chatting with you through all the laughs. Really an awesome accomplishment and very well deserved.
Thank you so much.
We really, really appreciate you coming on with us.
No, I appreciate you having me. This was great. This was a lot of fun.